It was another chaotic evening at St. Mary's Hospital. Dr. Stephen Carson, a seasoned surgeon known for his cold demeanor, marched through the crowded ER with his signature scowl. To him, patients were just cases, nothing more, nothing less. Tonight was no different. He had no time for emotions or pleasantries. Room 4, a little girl, 9 years old. Severe abdominal pain. The nurse informed him as they walked. Dr. Carson let out an annoyed sigh. Parents. She's here with her father. He's waiting outside. Without further comment, Dr. Carson entered the room. There on the bed lay a frail little girl with tangled hair and tear-streaked cheeks. Her big brown eyes locked onto him, filled with a mix of fear and pain. "All right, kid, what's going on?" he asked brusquely, flipping through her chart. Her voice was barely a whisper. "It hurts a lot." "Well, we'll figure it out," he said, not looking at her. "Hold still. This will be quick." The little girl winced as he conducted a hurried examination. His tone remained indifferent as he said, "Appendicitis. We need to operate. Prep the OR." The procedure went smoothly, at least medically. Yet, Dr. Carson couldn't shake the image of the little girl's trembling hands clutching the teddy bear she had insisted on keeping with her. For the first time in years, something tugged at the edges of his rigid composure. "She'll be fine," he informed the father post-surgery. The man, disheveled and visibly worried, grabbed his hand. "Thank you, doctor. You saved my baby." Dr. Carson pulled his hand away, muttering, "Just doing my job," before briskly walking off. The next day, Dr. Carson returned to check on his patient. The little girl was sitting up, smiling weakly as her father spoon-fed her soup. Seeing her awake and somewhat cheerful should have been a routine moment. But something about the man caught Dr. Carson's attention. "Do I know you?" Carson asked, his voice slightly softer than usual. The father hesitated. "Maybe you do, Dr. Carson. My name's Adam Carter." The name hit like a lightning bolt. Adam Carter. 10 years ago, Adam had been a young intern at the hospital, a bright, idealistic medical student who had clashed with Dr. Carson over his cold treatment of patients. Carson had used his influence to have Adam removed from the program, labeling him unfit for the medical field. "You?" Carson whispered, his voice faltering. "Yes, me," Adam replied calmly. "But today isn't about us. It's about my daughter, Ellie." Carson's throat tightened. Ellie was the daughter of the man whose career he had derailed, the same man who now looked at him with quiet strength, no bitterness in his eyes. Later that evening, Dr. Carson sat alone in his office, staring at Ellie's file. Guilt gnawed at him like never before. Adam's resilience, Ellie's innocence, it was too much. For the first time, he questioned his own choices, the walls he'd built around himself. Unable to bear the weight of his remorse, he found Adam in the hospital's waiting room. "Adam," Carson began, his voice uncharacteristically shaky. "I need to talk." Adam stood, his protective stance instantly apparent. "What is it?" I wronged you," Carson admitted. "Years ago, I let my pride and ego ruin your career. I thought I was protecting the profession, but I was just protecting myself." Adam's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. "Please," Carson continued, his voice breaking, "don't report me. I can't lose everything. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right. Just don't end my career like I ended yours." Adam studied him for a long moment before sighing. "I'm not here to ruin you, Dr. Carson. What's done is done. I moved on. But maybe it's time you started seeing patients as people instead of numbers." In the days that followed, something changed in Dr. Carson. He visited Ellie's room daily, reading to her, listening to her laugh, and watching her eyes sparkle as she told stories about her teddy bear. When Ellie was finally discharged, she hugged Dr. Carson tightly. "Thank you for fixing me," she said with a wide grin. Carson knelt to meet her eye level. "No, Ellie. Thank you for fixing me." As Adam and Ellie walked out of the hospital, Dr. Carson stood at the entrance, watching them leave with a newfound sense of purpose. That day, he vowed to honor Adam's words, to treat his patients not as cases, but as human beings with stories, struggles, and dreams. And for the first time in years, he felt a spark of something he had long buried: humanity. Sometimes, redemption comes from the most unexpected places. In helping others, we often find the courage to heal ourselves.